Hello friends, Daddy Naz here. Today I'm going to take you through my beginner's guide to setting up TSM. The goal here is not just for you to be able to copy and paste my groups and operations, but actually understand how you go from getting a new item, adding it to a group, and then applying an operation to that group so that you can get a much better understanding on how to use this amazing add-on. So, this will include how to install TSM, the TSM app helper, and the TSM desktop app, making sure it is installed and turned on correctly, how to make and add items to groups, how to make an operation, how to assign operations to groups, how to import and export TSM settings, auction house scans and cancel scans, how to fix max stacks posted or auction below min price, how to use TSM shopping tab and related searches, using the TSM bankui to pull all the items you don't currently have on the AH out of the bank, and finally TSM mailing. So in one click you can send all your items to all your different tombs. Timestamps for each of these subjects can be found in the video description. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so first you want to make sure you go to tradeskillmaster.com. If you don't have an account, go to login, select create an account, set that all up. Otherwise, sign in. Now, the first thing you're going to be doing is setting the region. So you need to go realm selection. And as you can see, all my realms are there. At the bottom, you have add realms. All the realms are here for US and the EU. Next, click on the install TSM tab. You're going to be downloading the TSM4 add-on, the app helper, and choosing whether you want the Windows or Mac desktop app. Just go through the setup. Basically, the setup is quite easy. You just click next to everything, and if you've got an older version of TSM already installed, you just click that you don't want to get rid of your settings, and you should be good to go. Now, when you click on download for the app helper and the TSM app, they're just going to be 2 zip files. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be opening those zip files and placing them in our WoW interface folder, which you can see the general directory of where it normally is on screen at the moment. So you open it up and just drag it in. And do it for the app helper as well. Alright, you can go ahead and close out of the website and your Explorer. So now you're just looking for the TSM app. You can either type in TSM in your Windows search bar or on your desktop. You put in your username and password that you set up on the website, hit OK, and give it a couple of seconds because it's going to pull down the realms that you just synced and chose on the website to get the realm data for you. This is going to run in the background, so you're always going to have up-to-date data on everything on the auction house. This will also automatically back up your settings as well on your local machine, so if you lose them, you're not going to have any issues. As you can see, they've updated now, so you're good to just minimize the app and log in. Alright, so before you log in, you want to go down to add-ons, scroll all the way to the bottom, and just make sure that TSM and TSM app helper are both enabled. Then click OK. Now you're good to log on to your bank tomb. Okay, so your TSM button is up next to your minimap. You want to go to settings, then click on macros, and make sure the top 4 settings are selected, and then choose the keybind that you want. Basically, you're going to use this to scroll your mouse wheel up and down to cancel and post. It makes it a heap easier. Next, I'm going to show you how to make the writing a bit bigger on the screen. You hold down Shift, and then at the bottom you see the 3 marks. Just drag that up and down, and it will make it bigger or smaller depending on what you like. Before we get on to adding items into groups and linking operations, I want to explain what a group is and what you do with it. With any item you get in WoW, to use it with TSM, you have to add it to a group. A group is a designation like mounts or low tier transmog or dump items. So you can put items together that you want to be sold in a certain way. You can create operations to work for assigned groups. The operation is anything you want to do to the group, be it the rules for auction house posting, cancelling, or even mailing. So to recap, you get an item, you place the item in a group, and then you use an operation on the group. The sections coming up will show you in detail how I set all of mine up. To create a new group, click on the plus symbol next to base group. In this case, we'll rename it Mounts. Hit enter after naming it. It is extremely important that Ignore Item Variations button is ticked, especially for transmog. This makes TSM ignore the prefixes on items such as Fever Flare or of the Quickblade. If you don't do this, TSM will only undercut items with the same prefix, and you'll find you are posting items way too high more often than not. Now, what I'm doing here is I just went through, chose the 2 mounts in my bags, and added them into the grouped items and clicked Add Items. I've then moved on to the Pets tab and gone through and added my pets. We're going to go through and do this for all the different headings I have here. So you'll see I put primals in primals, recipes in recipes, and so on and so forth. In a moment, after I add items to toys, you'll see that I use a filter in the filter bar at the top of all the items. This will sort them to only show items that sell for between 1 gold to 3,000 gold. I'll put the string in the description for it. Then, all I have to do is hit the 3 dots, as shown here, and click Select All. Then I can just add them all to the group without having to look at each item individually. I use the same string again in medium tier transmog, but this time I do it between 3,000 and 7,000 gold. And then in high tier, whatever's left in my bags will just get added into that group. You'll notice as I add things to the high tier Xmog group that I accidentally put the 4 of Lunacy in there. When I go to check my dump items, which are all the items I just want to get rid of quickly and don't care what they're posted for or anything, I notice there's nothing in there. So I go back and I check where I might have put it, and I find it in the high tier transmog section. So all I have to do is select it, click select items to remove, and then it will get taken out of being part of any group. You then go to dump items and then add that to dump items. Before I show you how to make operations, there are a few things I need to explain. The first is, after you enter any information, you need to hit the enter key to make sure it is saved. The second is min price, max price, and normal price. Min price means that auctions will not be posted if it's under 10% of DB market. This means that it will still undercut even if it's 90% lower than the realm's normal price. For example, an item that is 100 gold will post down to a minimum of 10 gold. If it's under 10 gold on the auction house, then the item will just stay in your bags and not post. Normal price is what you will post if there are none of the item currently on the auction house, and max price is the maximum you'll ever post something for. I've set mine up to be very aggressive, as Frostmourne has extremely low prices on most items. If you want, you can increase the 10% DB market min price up to 50 to 60% if you never want to sell any of your items super low. Alright, now let's get on to operations. Okay, so hit the plus sign next to auctioning, and we're going to rename it to dump, because this is going to be the operation linked to the dump group that we've created. So go to posting. Then once we've gone into posting, we're going to be setting the auction duration to 48 hours. After that, we're setting the post cap to 200, because that's the maximum amount that you can have on the auction house with TSM at one time, like being posted normally. Then set the post stack to 1000. That means if you got a stack that's like a 200 stack of herbs, you'll be able to post it at the 200 stack instead of partial. Next, and this is super important, is you allow partial stacks. That means if you have, say, 175 herbs, and you can't get to that max 200 stack, it'll still post the 175. Now we're going to be setting our minimum price, our maximum price, and our normal price. I have my minimum price set at 10% DB market. This means it's going to be super aggressive. As I said earlier, you can bump that right up so you don't post if you don't want to sell that low. After that, we change the maximum price. I have it super high because you never know, someone might buy it. It's very rare that it ever posts that high. And then normal price is what you're going to be posting at if there's none of that item currently up on the auction house. Alright, now we're going to take a look at primals, because for this I have two operations for the exact same group. As you'll see, I have the post cap set to 100 and the set post stack size to 1. That means it'll post single stacks up to 100 of them, and I've allowed partial stacks off so that it won't post, 2 or 3 or 4. Then for my next primals group, I have it set to post in stacks of 10. As you can see, I've set the post cap to 100 and the set stack to 10, but I have allowed partial stacks on because it means any leftover will now just be posted on the auction house. Next, we're going to be taking a look at my low tier transmog group. I have this set for 48 hours because I do not do any cancel scans on this group at all. I have the set post cap to 1 because I'll only ever have 1 of each item on the auction house, and the stack size to 1. Allow partial stacks is on, but it doesn't matter because you can't have a partial glorious leg blades, you know what I mean? Then we're going to have a look at my medium and high tier posting operation. I have that set for 24 hours because I do cancel scans on this. I have the same thing set up where it will only post 1 of each item on the auction house, and I have allowed partial stacks on, but it doesn't need to be there as well. So these are the main things I use for auction housing of transmog items. Now, for linking groups with operations. First, choose the group that you want to link, then click on the group operations. Find auctioning, and click the drop-down tab and choose the operation you want to use. So in this case, it would be using the dump operation, because we're adding it to the dump group. If there's already an operation there, just click the X to remove it before adding the new operation. Next, always make sure that you have override parent operations on. This means that TSM won't use its default posting option. As you can see here on my mount group, I'm using the transmog medium/high operation, so it only posts a single mount at a time. I actually use my transmog medium/high operation for any group that I only want to post 1 of each item up at a time. Now we're on to primals. As you can see under auctioning, I've selected 2 operations. This means when it does the post scan, it'll scan to post an amount from your bags in single stacks and in stacks of 10. That's the best thing about TSM, is you can have so many auctioning operations for the exact same group that it will post all different types of amounts. If you want to be selling stacks of 1, 3, 5, whatever, you just create that simple operation and link it to that group. The other easy way to link groups with operations is in the operations tab. When you click on the operation you want and then go down to group management, and you'll see each of the groups that operation is affecting. You can also use the little tab next to that to link more groups with that operation. The only reason I didn't show you this way first is because it's best to go through your groups and make sure that they have the override parent operation ticked for each one of them first. Now, onto some easier things, how to export your settings. Go to the Import Exports tab, select everything that you want in the Export tab, include the operations, and click Next. Then you'll get all of this code, just select it all, and copy paste it into a notepad or paste bin or anything like that to keep it safe for a later date. The first thing you want to do when importing new TSM settings is create a new profile. This can be done on the Settings tab. Just put in a new name and hit Create. All of your groups and settings will now be blank. After that, to import my settings, go to Paste Bin. The link is in the description, and then copy the code from there. You then go to the Import Export tab, click on Import, and paste the raw code from Paste Bin into the Paste String Here box. Then click Confirm. After this, you need to go to each group and make sure you recheck Ignore Item Variations box. You need to do this to make sure that every group has it on. Then, go to the Operations tab and make sure that each operation is linked to the right group. It should be by default after the import, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Now you are finally ready to post some auctions. Open up the auction house and you'll see it start on the My Auctions page. This is where you can cancel selected auctions, see if anything has sold, and see how many you have up and see their total value. To post, go to the Auctioning tab. Select all the groups that you want to post. Don't use the default group as it won't undercut properly and it'll just be messy. So only use the groups that you've set up. Hit the Post Scan button. Simple as that. It will now go through all the items in your bags, see their current prices. Once this is done, just use your scroll wheel macro that you made at the start or hit post for each auction. Now, thankfully undercutting is just as easy. Click the back arrow at the top left, choose the groups that you want to cancel scan, and then hit cancel scan. Easy as that. Once that is done, use your scroll wheel macro again, and the items will be in your mail. Now all you have to do is open up the auction house again, choose the groups that you want to post, and post all the items you just got out of the mail. Now you will have successfully undercut the people who had just undercut you. Sometimes you'll have items that won't post. The first error you might come across is not enough of these items in your bag, or too many of these posted. Your options are to either put the excess of the item in the guild bank or personal bank, or change the operation that the items group uses to increase its post count. The other error you might come across is auction below min price. To fix this, go take a look at the price of the item by shift clicking on the item while on the shopping tab. If you still want, you can hit the post button there and do it manually. Now we're going to take a look at the TSM shopping tab. This is where you can look for any item you want to buy. To search for an item to buy, enter your search in the enter filter bar and then hit enter. This can be a partial search, such as typing primal, or an exact search, like glorious leg plates. You'll also see 3 buttons underneath. Great deals are something that the TSM website recommends to buy, but it can be off a lot of the time, so I generally don't use it. The vendor search will search for any items that are under vendor price, so you can literally just buy them and vendor them for instant profit. And the disenchant search will bring up items that you can DE for a profit. You can also use this tab to post individual items from your bag just by shift clicking them and then hitting the post button. Back on the auctioning tab, you'll see your recent scans. Next to these is a little star symbol. If you click it, they'll show up in your favorite scans, so you can just click it whenever you want without having to go ahead and pre-select all the different groups. This also works the same with your recent searches in the shopping tab. The next little bit I want to show you is a real time saver. It's TSM bankui. All you do is type TSM space bankui and it will bring up the bankui module. Then click the auctioning tab at the top, select all your groups, and then hit shortfall to bags. This will pull any item that you have in a group but not currently on the auction house out of the bank and into your bags. This is super useful for after you've just collected all your cash from your sold auctions to quickly replenish them without having to search for each individual item that you have just sold. Setting up TSM mailing is super easy. What it will do is mail every item in predefined groups that are currently in your bags to the character of your choosing. To do this, we'll go ahead and open our operations tab in TSM, go to the mailing, and create a new mailing operation. In there, you'll see target character. All you have to do is type in your toon's name and then go down to group management and then choose which groups you want to be sent to your toon. It's that easy. Then all you have to do is go to the mailbox, click on the groups tab, choose which groups you want to mail, and hit send. Well, that's it. You should now have the knowledge to break into most markets with ease. If there is enough interest, I will follow up with profession video guides for TSM. If anyone has any issues or doesn't understand something, feel free to leave a message in the comments and I'll get back to you. I plan to start doing some videos on what farms I find the most profitable and multi-boxing setup guides. If you guys like this, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe. Have a good day, friends.